Are you stupid? Are
Well,
you a
no,
stupid person? And you're just asking questions because you're a stupid person.
Andrew, how are you?
Good. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was not bad. Not
Did you do,
bad at all.
did you do like a Friendsgiving type thing with anybody?
I did a Friendsgiving. I love Friendsgiving. And then I went over to my sister's house and there was like 18 people.
Too many people.
I made like a crazy amount of mac and cheese.
Nice. We normally go to Texas for like a big for like 50 people, big type gathering, and this year we stayed home and did steak and king crab, and like there were me and three other people at my house, and it was
Oh,
phenomenal. So I'm gonna try to
that's
do that
awesome.
from now on. Hey, before we start on anything else today, I have to ask you about one thing, and I want you to be honest with me, okay?
Okay.
Am I becoming like an old white man?
Yeah, you've been an
Like
old white
very,
man.
but like, am I becoming like the kind of old white man that like doesn't get what these kids are doing?
Oh yeah, I get it. I'm the same way.
Yeah, I'm worried about myself. Like, okay, I'm gonna tell you a little fun, interesting fact about my life. Up until the last 2 weeks, I have never been in any kind of a situation where I've misgendered anybody. Like, it never happened to me. I see
Okay.
people online talking about misgendering people and nothing I've ever dealt with. I went into a gas station in the great state of Oklahoma less than 2 weeks ago. I was buying a product. As soon as I walked up to the counter, I realized that I was unsure of the I don't know what the right way to say it is. Unsure of how this person was identifying. Okay,
Sure.
I couldn't tell. So in my head right away. I was like neutral, like don't say sir, ma'am, like just keep it neutral, no
Yes.
problem. I ordered what I wanted, and at one point while they were getting it, I saw that ooh, the new flavor. Like I got excited. I was like, there's a new flavor of the thing I want to buy. So without thinking, I was like, ooh, sir, actually, I want that one over there. And as soon as I said sir in my mind, I was like, no, like bad, like this is a problem. And I
Okay.
saw in the person's body language, they had their back turned to me. But when I said sir, like kind of everything slowed down. Like they were like, ah. And they grabbed the item I wanted, turned back around, put it on the counter, and said, "Oh, and by the way, you were incorrect." And like I knew exactly what they were saying. Like when
Yeah.
I'm gonna say she, I'm pretty sure now, but when
Okay.
she said, "By the way, you were incorrect," I was like, "Yep, sorry about that, didn't mean it." And I think she thought I wasn't following because then she made it a point to be like, "When you said sir, that was incorrect," and I was like, "Oh no, no, no!" Like my apologies and. Like you know how if you like in a racism type thing, if you ever default to the whole like I have a black friend, like that means things aren't going well. Like
Right.
I immediately started panicking and I was like, I have a cousin that's gay and blah blah and I I started saying all the worst possible things. Like it was just like, "Well, I'm an ally," and and then I realized there were people behind me and I was talking a lot. I was backtracking, and I will say this: the person behind the
That's where you
counter
get in trouble. Just yeah.
I should have just said sorry and been
Yes.
done, but I
Yes.
tried to like prove that I didn't mean. And the person cut me off pretty quick and was like, "Oh no, like I could tell there. I think she used the word malice, but she was like, I could tell there wasn't any malice behind it. So when there's no malice, I just politely correct. If there had been malice, then I would have handled it a different way." She said something very similar to that,
Okay.
and I was like, "Oh no, no, like no malice." And then I kept going, and it was like at several points I was looking around and I was just like, how do I get out of here right now? Like I don't want to be a part of this anymore. And when I left, it was weird. I almost felt like I should go back in and keep talking for some reason. Anyhow,
Okay.
that happened a week and a half to 2 weeks ago. And then today I went mall walking, another sign that I'm an old white man. I needed some steps. The
Yes.
weather's bad. I was like, I'm just gonna go to the mall and walk around, which terrible idea on this of all weekends. Okay,
Yeah.
crowded mall. I was weaving in and out of people trying to keep my pace going. At one point, there was what I assumed for sure was a chick. Skinny jeans, like Doc Martin boots for some reason. Hadn't seen Doc Martin boots. And like
Oh,
a skinny,
they're super popular right now.
I did not know this.
Yeah.
But trying to get by, and I said, "Excuse me, ma'am," and I kind of slung by. And as I was swinging by, I turned, and it was 100% a dude. I don't know if it was a dude that was making the transition, or if this is just how young men dress now. Like there's a chance this young man is totally straight, and this is just what's in style. I'm not sure. Skinny jeans and like he looked like Ellen DeGeneres. Skinny jeans and like a long sleeve mock turtleneck skinny shirt. Lots of
Okay.
jewelry. Lots of jewelry. Jewelry on the like rings, necklaces. Either way, as soon as I said "excuse me, sir," and I said "excuse me, ma'am," and then I got around and I saw the face, I was just like, "God, Andy, like stop!" The rest of the time I was at the mall walking, I started having a realization. Like my dad was as conservative as can be his whole life. And at one point
Hmm.
early in the first Trump administration, me and him were battling on stuff. And at one point I called him Archie Bunker. Are you familiar with Archie Bunker?
Oh yeah.
When I call him Archie Bunker, I've never seen him get so instantly mad. Like he was offended beyond belief, but I think that that triggered something in him where he was like, "Oh shit, like am I the old white guy now?" Like I could see he didn't say it out loud, but I could see it. And at that moment, he started getting a little more progressive like every day. Like it was kind of weird. Like he was like, "I don't want to be Archie Bunker." I think
Interesting.
I think I had kind of my Bunker moment over the past couple, and I'm not even like I would consider myself like an ally and a progressive and all these, but like I'm worried now because like I catch myself constantly with my kid and her friends being like, "What are these kids doing?" Like I think I'm at that point now.
It
I don't
started
get
with
it.
me. It started with the Tide Pods. I was like, what are these insane kids doing? Remember? I mean, I don't even remember how long ago that was,
Was
like 10 years ago.
was that even a thing they were really doing? I feel like that was more of an internet thing. Kids were eating Tide Pods or
I don't know.
something.
I just heard about it and I was like, what?
That's
Why?
that's one of
Why
those
would you
where I
even do that?
that's one of those where I wonder like, were kids really doing that or was that just an internet thing? But I
Well, I
think
mean, if it was an internet thing, they were doing it on the internet.
I think we have to realize that from this day going forward, and probably for the past several years, like we're gonna slowly not get it, like more and more every day. Like we're just not
Oh,
gonna
I
get
still
it.
don't get what was the one South Park covered it. It was the
6, 7.
6 7. Yeah.
Jeez. Not only okay,
No clue.
you want to know how bad it is? Like I went through a couple weeks of being annoyed because my kid, ooh, like she jumps if she hears 6 and 7, it's she's got to say something about it. But then
What is
at
it?
at a soccer game recently, my kid's soccer game, the ref, and I wish I remember why he said it, but he said 6, 6 or 7 or said something like that. And like me and several dads on the sideline, all the parents sideline, no kids, several dads at the same time were like, up 6, 7. And I caught myself doing it. And I was like, no,
What is it?
I have no clue.
Why 6 7?
It's from a song. It's from I think a rap song, and I've
Oh,
asked. I have no clue no clue why this became a thing. But I've joined in with the 6, 7 stuff, maybe to try to feel youthful. I don't know. But I caught
probably.
me and several dads all did it as a reflex, and it was like we all looked at each other with shame. It was bad.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Anyhow,
What did
that's
we do as kids that was so
that's what
terrible?
my daughter was asking me if we had anything equivalent to 6, 7, and I really don't think we like. I can't remember anything. Maybe because it
Uh,
wasn't annoying to us. I'm sure if we asked our parents, they if they could remember, they'd have something. But like, I don't remember anything that was equally dumb as 6, 7.
yeah, I don't think I was ever really into pop culture that much. I didn't really jump
Yeah,
into the pop culture thing. Yeah, I
I don't
don't
know. I
know.
feel like I'm gonna get a shirt made at this point that says like, "I'm sorry, I'm old and white. Please forgive me," or something like that. I think I'm gonna need that going forward.
Yeah, or just don't gender anybody until you actually like see them.
God, it's so
Or
hard. Yeah. The
yeah,
first one, I saw it and I made the mistake. I get it. The second one, I felt confident as I was like, "Excuse me, ma'am," and then I slid by and I was like, "Oh, that's a young boy. Like that's okay, cool."
yeah, and there's no reason to actually gender anybody at any point in time unless yeah,
I don't
you
know.
could just say I'm sorry or
And
excuse me.
even
You don't
going
have to like put a
well,
gender in front of it or before it.
going along with the whole like I just don't get it. I think me and you might have talked about this already, but my wife has someone on her side of the family that now goes by they them, gender neutral, I guess, and
Yeah.
they are identified as they them. And when their
Okay.
parent was talking to me, and she was like, well, and then they got a house, and I kept getting confused. I was like, hold on, her and who else? And it was like, no, no, they meaning her. Like
It's confusing.
they them here's my only old man thing I'm going to stick to. They them can't be a singular person. If you say them, you're talking about more than one person. So if you're one person, you can't be a them. I feel like I could die on this hill. Again, I'll call you whatever you want, but you can't identify as more than one person is where I'm getting at. Like I think if you're going to identify, it has to be still as one person.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how that works. I guess if you could be multiple personalities in one person.
Yeah. I, you know what I know for sure is that me and you shouldn't be talking about how people identify at all.
Probably not. We
This
we
is
we need to have a specialist on.
all right. Moving on to the news. Real quick, do you remember the person that got hired early in this Trump administration that is the head of DHS counterterrorism?
The young kid?
Yeah, Thomas Fugate. Um, if you remember, he had that goofy ass smile.
Yeah.
Anyhow, Thomas Fugate is in charge of keeping us safe from terrorism. I bring that up for no other reason to say we had an act of terrorism, it appears, in D.C. almost a week ago now. You
Mm.
see the two National Guards people that got shot. First of all, I'm going to make fun of different things in the Trump administration here and of the Democrats, honestly. But I want to make sure and say, like, that's terrible. One of them has since died. That's terrible. This
Yep.
is not a good thing. Violence is not the answer, and all the blah 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 stuff you could say. But like, it's ridiculous. Somebody walked up to two National Guardsmen on the streets and shot them. If you're mad the National Guard is in your city, it's not their fault. That specific person standing on the sideline or on the sidewalk didn't choose to be there. The right way to show your anger isn't violence towards them in any way, shape, or form. Want to make that real clear.
Well, we have an issue, and this came into I was thinking about this earlier today. We have an issue with political violence in this country, and we've had it for a long time.
Yeah.
We had JFK, Martin Luther King. I mean, we could go all the way back to what's his name, Lincoln.
Okay.
All the way back to Lincoln. I mean, we've always had this, and does it correlate with the amount of guns that we have?
Yeah, so you could make a strong argument that a lot of the violence in our country, not just political violence, but a lot of the violence is gun violence. And hey, why does America have so much more gun violence than every other country? I'm pretty sure it correlates to the amount of guns we have compared to other countries. Totally acceptable. But
Yes.
on the political violence thing, somebody explained it this way earlier this week, but it's like inflation. Remember, we've talked a lot about how with inflation, like once it's going up, like you have to like slow it down first and then try to bring it back down slowly. You can't just turn it on and turn it off. And political violence has been a lot like that in this country. We go through moments, parts in time, like the 60s, MLK, Malcolm X, RFK, JFK. I'm probably missing a lot. There was a string of like in a 10-year period, there were several political assassinations. And then it got calm for a little bit. And then in the 80s, there were a lot of stuff that we don't really talk about. I think it was the late 70s or early 80s, but like the Underground in Philadelphia. Like there was a lot of stuff that kind of doesn't make the history books these days, but like it goes through swings. And right now we're in a bad swing where like it needs to stop right away. But
Do you think maybe it directly correlates to people not trusting democracy?
Yeah, I think when people lose trust in the government and the media, bad things happen. And that's why the thing that kills me is we've known for 10 years that these other countries are trying to sow, I'm trying to think how to say this right,
Discord.
distrust in the media and the government. Like that's what they're trying to do. Don't trust your media. And like Trump is helping them with that. And like we all know that that's their goal, yet we're all falling into the trap of like, I don't trust anything I see these days. Like that's bad. That's going to lead to bad things.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Anyhow, real quick, the guy that got shot, man, the guy that shot the two National Guard troops, Afghan refugee. When this first happened, man, it was funny to watch. I've hit a point where if there's an event like this that happens, I'm not commenting at all for a day or two because like we have to see what's going to come out. You'll see a post where it says, "Oh, it turns out he was a Muslim," and then the right starts jumping all over the left, and then it's like, "Oh, he worked with our CIA in Afghanistan." Like, oh, that's a whole new thing. To run through the timeline real quick. He entered the U.S. on a special immigrant visa during Operation Allies Refuge, which was pushed by left and right. I got some clips to play from you this in a second. This is a process that it was created and started under Trump. Now, this guy came to America under Biden, but using this process that was started under Trump, he came to America. Like I said, overwhelming support by bipartisan support, left and right, both sides. And I remember this debate a little bit. It's like, hey, there are Afghanistans that have put their life on the line to help America, to be translators, to give us intelligence on where the bad guys are. And now we're leaving. We're just going to leave them behind to get killed by the Taliban. Like, no, like if they've been helping us, we need to bring them to America. Like, if anything, Biden was getting killed on that because he was supposedly leaving too many of them behind, and the Republicans were going off about how he's leaving all of our allies over there. He should be making a way to get them here. I got clips on that, like I said, in a second. He filed for asylum in late 2024. It was December of 2024. He was still protected under this the Allies Refuge Act. He was protected under that, but Trump started talking about deporting all kinds of people that were under special protection, TPS type stuff. So he saw that. He said, oh shit, Trump just got elected. He's talking about ending all these special protections. To be safe, I should just apply for asylum too. He did that in December 2024. He got approved under the Trump administration in April 2025 for asylum. So he's legal to be here. Now, he went nuts. He went a little cuckoo, as Trump says. In fact, that's directly how he said it. He went a little cuckoo. But this is a guy that got
That's it.
recruited by our CIA in Afghanistan, worked with us since he was 15 years old in Afghanistan. When we started to withdraw, we pulled him out. He lives in Washington State. He had to go through a background check to begin working with our CIA. He had to go through another background check when we brought him over here. And then he had to go through a third background check when he applied for asylum. So he's been vetted. That's not the problem here. People snap all the time. This guy snapped. He was properly vetted. He was as vetted as you can get. And again, he was granted asylum under the Trump administration. Now, both sides of the aisle, left and right, like asylum reform is something we should look at. Like we've talked about this, but if you come across the southern border and just say, "I'm claiming asylum," like boom, they can't kick you out and make you go back.
Right.
You're going to be here for a year or two while your case works its way through the courts. There needs to be a way to more quickly decide, does this person have a real claim or not? This guy had a real claim. Like this guy totally did. Like if we sent him back to Afghanistan, the Taliban would kill him because he was helping the Americans for the last however many years. So real claim. First of all, you haven't said much about it. What were your thoughts on the whole the murder of the two DC guardsmen?
I mean, obviously, it's not great, not good at all. I haven't really looked into it. I didn't even really know it was in Washington.
It was apparently like within a mile of the Capitol, like right down the street from the Capitol.
Oh, I did hear that. Yeah. And so, did he just walk up to him and shoot him point blank?
It appears he walked up behind them, shot one of them in the head. I think that's the girl, and she just passed away a couple days ago. She lived for about a day or two after this happened. Shot the other one in the chest, I believe. He is still alive, critical condition. But I guess he shot the two of them, and then another guardsman tried to open fire on him, but like ended up ducking for cover. And from what I heard initially, the one who took him down with a pocket knife. Like the guy ended up getting shot too, the guy who committed the attack, but he originally got taken down by a pocket knife, which good on that guardsman, whoever that was that whipped out their
Right. So, what are his reasons? I mean, how did he snap? Is he just anti-immigration deportation, or is he?
We have no clue.
Okay.
Now he's still alive, I believe. He's alive and he's in the hospital. So at some point, I guess we'll get to hear from him. Maybe.
It's crazy how the right and the left both blame the other side
Oh,
on every single political assassination or attempted assassination. They just blame the other side.
yeah. And here's the thing: I just listed all the reasons that Trump can't blame the left on this. But
Yeah.
like the left is bad on all forms when it comes to immigration and who comes to our country. Like I'm not saying that one side's good and one side's bad. In Trump's defense, and I had this written down here somewhere. Oh yeah. The asylum adjudication process is handled by career officials following laws written and funded by multiple administrations. So it's not like Trump's people came in and then they're the ones that it was a career guy who'd been handling asylum cases. And like I said, they probably followed everything on the books.
Yeah.
Could those things be reformed? Yeah, but it wouldn't have applied to this guy specifically. It's again, I think if we go back in time and look at everything, he deserved to get refuge in our country for what he did to help us in Afghanistan.
It's I mean, and I hate to say this, but it's a mental health problem. It's an American problem. It's a gun problem. It's not a Democrat right-wing problem. It's it's the way that we work, that our system is set up. And it's not the immigration problem either. It's the way that our system is set up that people actually get so fed up with how we do things in this country that they decide that they're going to go out and murder people.
Yep.
One person or 10 people or whatever it is, they just go out and they want to go on a killing spree, which is crazy.
The dumbest thing, but I'm going to say it. Violence is not the answer. You hear that all the time, but like it's amazing how quickly some people just jump straight to like I'm going to kill them. No, you're not solving anything with this. So, Fox News, Jennifer Griffin. We've talked about her before. She is the best journalist at Fox News, hands down. She covers like the State Department and the Department of Defense. She said the alleged shooter, and I'm not even going to try to say his name, worked for the CIA in Afghanistan out of the Kandahar base, according to CIA Director Ratliff. Multiple sources tell me he was vetted before working with the CIA by the NTC, National Counterterrorism Center, and the CIA. I'm told that he was with the task force in Kandahar during the Afghanistan withdrawal. The CIA airlifted, with the help of the U.S. military, many Afghan allies who had worked with the U.S. government and took special care of those who were badged and worked with the agency. They were taken to bases in Qatar and Europe, and then onward to military bases in the U.S., where further vetting was supposed to take place. Having CIA ID would have put him in the vetted category. He basically was already working with the CIA, so he was already vetted. I am told there was nothing in his background when he arrived in the U.S. on September 8th, 2021, that suggested links to terrorism. He applied for asylum last year and was approved under Trump. There are so many conspiracy theories going on now, and I don't believe any of the stuff I see on Twitter, but on Twitter, you'll see screenshots where it's like, oh, his name was, there was a spike in Google's for the terrorist's name 2 hours before the shooting took place. And oh, look, they all took place in Israel. Okay. I'm not saying you see screenshots claiming this. I don't believe any of it. I'm sure stuff is doctored. I'm sure that one of the things, because even the 2 National Guardsmen that were shot during this, I've seen screenshots where it's like, look, people were searching their names 2 hours before the shooting even took place. What's up with that? And it's like, okay, well, here's an easy question. What time zone? Like, are you looking? This happened in the Eastern time zone? Are you in the Western time zone? Whatever. Like, I'm sure there's easy ways people can fool dummies online. But the fact that he worked with the CIA, and I don't buy any of this right now at all. But he worked with the CIA, so you got the whole MK Ultra type conspiracy theorist type people.
You don't buy that he worked with the CIA?
No, I buy that he worked with the CIA.
Okay.
I don't buy the rest of what I'm about to say.
Okay.
But there are people that saying like, oh, look, Trump wanted a reason to send more National Guard into more cities or to start mass deportations of Afghans or whatever. People are thinking this is an inside job. The same kind of people that think 9/11 was an inside job are thinking that the CIA somehow trained this guy to go kill guardsmen.
And instead of Trump, I would put Stephen Miller in that position.
Yeah, I got a Stephen Miller's wife video for you later, just so you know.
God.
Yeah, it's gonna
make the rounds.
Yep. Oh, she's on CNN a lot recently, and I can't figure out why they're doing that. There's so many clips that I start to pull for you, and then I realize they're just gonna make us mad. I'm not pulling it, so I'll leave it alone. Anyhow. So we know, and I'm just going to recap real quick. We know he was vetted when he started working for the CIA, when he was pulled out of Afghanistan and brought to America, and again when he got his asylum approved, okay?
Uh-huh.
A female reporter had the balls to ask Trump about this. This is a little bit of a long clip. First of all, I'm going to back up a second. There was a journalist, and I can't remember who it was to save my life right now. Somebody you would know, and people were pointing out, like, you notice it's only the female journalist that Trump calls piggy and all kinds of insults. And this journalist pointed out, like, yes, that's true, but also notice it's only the female journalists that have the balls to ask him these tough questions. And I think there's some truth to that. I'm just going to say, like, I wish I could remember who said that, but like, oh yeah, like that's, I mean, they're a little bit more fearless when asking him. I'm trying
to think about any of the the White House correspondents that are men besides Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend or whatever.
There are several of them. I can't think of names right now, but there are several of them. There's one guy I'm picturing from ABC, but I can't think of his name. But anyhow, I'm just going to say I think the women, I think they ask it a little bit more forcefully. And I think with Trump, there's also a degree of like, he doesn't like being challenged by a woman.
He's a little misogynist.
Definitely. But I thought her point was pretty good. This lady, I think she's with ABC. I'm not 100% on, or actually she is with Bloomberg, I believe. But she asked about the vetting process. This video is from a weird angle, but it helps because you can see her face. Check this out real quick.
A question about this tragic shooting in Washington, D.C. U.S. officials say that the suspect worked very closely with the CIA in Afghanistan for years, that he was vetted, and the vetting came up clean.
He went cuckoo. I mean, he went nuts. And that happens, too. It happens too often with these people. You see them. But look, this is how they come in. This is how they're standing on top of each other, and that's an airplane. There was no vetting or anything. They came in unvetted. And we have a lot of others in this country. We're going to get them out. But they go cuckoo. something
Actually,
happens to them.
Your DOJ IG just reported this year that there was thorough vetting by DHS and by the FBI of these Afghans who were brought into the U.S. So why do you blame the Biden administration
Because
for
they
what
let
this
them
man
in.
did?
Are you stupid? Are
Well,
you
no.
a stupid person? Because they came on a plane along with thousands of other people that shouldn't be here, and you're just asking questions because you're a stupid person. And there's a law passed that it's almost impossible not to get them out. You can't get them out once they come in. And they came in, and they were unvetted, they were unchecked, there were many of them, and they came in on big planes, and it was disgraceful. And if you look, you'll see there was a law passed. It makes it almost impossible not to let them in, not to certify them, so to speak, once they come in. And they came in, and they shouldn't have come in. And frankly, the whole thing was a mess. The whole Afghanistan situation was a mess. It should have never taken place. If we're going to go out, and we would have gone out because I had everybody ready to go, we were going to go out with strength and dignity and precision, and we would have left from Bagram, and we would have kept Bagram, by the way, because of its very close relationship to China and where they make their missiles. But when you let the people come in by the thousands and thousands and thousands, they made a terrible mistake. But they were incompetent. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. President.
Well, I mean, his
So he called her
he just
stupid
rambles.
like 3 times.
He's just rambling and
Yeah.
rambling and repeating the same thing. Like his mental capacity is going through. It's like he's losing a lot of mental capacity lately. It's bad.
You notice how she said, though, your own inspector general for the DOJ or for DHS said that he was vetted thoroughly. And Trump says, well, you just believe that because you're stupid. You're a stupid person. He called her stupid like 3 times. Right. And then he went on to say like twice more, like they were totally unvetted. And it's like, no. She was pointing out to you that your own government says they were vetted. And then at the end there, he was saying that, because of the laws, it's almost impossible to get these people out once you bring them in because of the laws. Guess who was pushing for those laws? The right or the left? Just take a guess.
Oh, the right was pushing for it?
So, and they were trying to make this a big deal under the Biden administration when Biden was pulling out, and the whole pullout of Afghanistan was a terrible job, I would say. And I will say, I don't think anybody could have done a great job at that.
I think he did as good a job as anybody would have done pulling out of Afghanistan.
Looking back, it's easy. The hindsight is 2020. It's easy to go, oh, well, we should have done this or that. At the time, we thought the Afghan security forces were going to hold up for a couple of weeks at least, and they held up for like 3 hours. Everything just collapsed. But real quick,
it was a bad move. Like, like you said, you can put blame and say you could have done different thing. You could have done differently. And yes, I think like a more strategic way, because it was almost like, okay, everybody leave, and they just like everybody packed up and left. And it's like, why don't you take like 2 or 3 weeks and do it in stages and like actually get our equipment out of there, get our tanks and all that stuff out of there. We just leave billions of dollars worth of equipment in their hands.
Part of the problem is, and he keeps saying, he said it in that video, that we should have kept Bagram Air Force Base. He doesn't get why we didn't keep that. Well, when he had the Taliban come to Camp David at the end of his first administration, they negotiated all this. And I still can't believe I said that out loud. And that's a real sentence. But yeah, he had the Taliban come to Camp David. But he negotiated for them to get Bagram Air Force Base. That was part of his deal, was that they would get that. And he keeps saying now, like, I don't know why we didn't keep that. That was that we were going to give them that. And slowly we were shrinking down to like the airport in Kabul, I think, wherever it was. But he kills me sometimes. The bill, real quick, for the Afghan refugees. I have 2 clips of when this bill was trying to get passed, and they were getting mad at Biden. And they were saying he was pulling out so fast that he was leaving our valuable allies behind. Here is 2 GOP lawmakers. Bonus points if you can tell me where the second one found Jesus.
We're going to get this done. This is the right thing to do. There's no other ending that is acceptable to me. The people who were there with us in the fight that are here in America need to stay. This will be their new home. So we have a moral obligation to these people. They will make great citizens over time.
We do have a responsibility to the Afghans who actually gave their lives and either put their families in harm's way to help us and assist us in our mission. We have a responsibility to do what needs to be done for them.
All right, so that second one you saw speaking, the black guy, he is currently running for governor of Florida, And for 5 bonus points, where did he find Jesus?
At a strip club.
Nope. You're the one that told me about this months ago
Did I?
in a Cracker Barrel parking lot.
Oh yeah.
That's
right.
Byron Donald. He found Jesus in the parking lot of a Cracker Barrel. Anyhow, but
Amazing.
that's both of them arguing that Biden wasn't doing enough to let more Afghan refugees in here. So that's it. Afghan refugees. Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Afghan refugees.
Yeah, it's a lot of words.
Refugees.
Yeah. So anyhow, that's all I got on the DC shooting.
Okay.
I hope that guy gets punished severely for what he did. That's all I'm going to say.
For sure.
I do have a quick funny I want to slide in here before we get to the next serious thing.
I'm surprised they didn't like come out with that he had like anti-ice on his written in Sharpie
on the bullet casings.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
That's
do not.
As soon as I heard this, I was like, oh no, they're gonna like, because it just seems like they did that 2 shootings in a row.
Yep.
And it doesn't seem real.
Well, and the weird part is like the people that are saying this could be a false flag is not the left. Like you would think the left would be the ones trying to go, oh no, hold on, wait, this wasn't. But no, it's people on the far right that even though this is good for Trump's messaging wise, if you're Trump and you want to deport more people, this is good. But if for some reason the far right is like, I don't know, I think this is a false flag. The CIA is involved, Israel's involved, and it's like, well, like this is good for your side. Anyhow, moving on. Real quick, funny video. 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was showing pictures of Trump appeared to be asleep in the Oval Office while people were talking. You remember that? Like he was just resting his eyes. The White House has been saying since that video or those pictures came out, they've been saying that, oh, well, this is all nonsense. You know, you take a picture when he's blinking and it looks like he's asleep and all that stuff. He's doing fine. He's got more energy than ever. That's their message. One of the people that was in the Oval Office for that went ahead and released just a video. It's like 10-second video of Trump close up on his face just to prove that no, this wasn't like a selective picture. Just watch this and tell me what you think. He looks a little sleepy, doesn't he?
He kind of looks like one of my uncles when he's really high.
Maybe that's it. Maybe he was under the influence
he's really
of some
high on some kind of drugs. But yeah, looks like he might be falling asleep.
Yeah, that right there. That's all the evidence I need. That man needed a nap at that point in time. Everybody needs a nap. I wanted a nap today. I didn't get one, but every now and then a nap is called for, and maybe that day he just needed.
He's 80 whatever years old. Like give him.
He's
a nap.
79. Don't shortchange the man. He's 79.
So I heard that he is over the time of his career as a politician. His meetings have gotten later and later, and now he's not starting any of his meetings until like noon.
So noon to 5 is the window.
Noon to 5.
Yeah, I saw this too. In his first term, it was 10 to 5 because like the thing is he's up all morning. So he's watching the news and tweeting about it. But like in his first term, the rumors were that he wasn't leaving the residence, like his bedroom area, and like till like 10 in the morning. And at a certain point between like 9 and 10, like hair and makeup would come in and they would get him all dolled up for the day. And then he would emerge at like 10 o'clock. Now it's more like noon is when he first steps into the Oval Office every day.
Which means he's probably waking up at 10.
I don't know. Well, he's up at 3 a.m. tweeting. So if I could ask for one thing out of Trump, I just want him to start sleeping regularly. Like when you're not sleeping right, you make bad decisions.
Do you think he considers tweeting working?
Oh, if he's sitting there watching the news and tweeting about it, I guarantee you he thinks that's like one of the best things he could do for America. I totally think
as a small business owner, like a 60-hour work week is not unreasonable, right?
No, as the president of the country, I would think that he's working an 80-hour week. Yeah,
you should be working 80 hours a week, working all this stuff. I mean, we still don't have a trade deal. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. He's removing some of the tariffs. We're going to talk about that in a second here.
Yeah.
All right. So the other bit of fun that we're having right now, I went to by the way, the high school football team in my city is going to state championships yet again. But I went to the state semifinals the other day. It was a day game. And when I got home, I was like, I haven't been on Twitter all day, which is weird for me. Like we had a relative staying with us. I got up, did some family stuff. So I hop on Twitter. The first headline I see, this is from the Washington Post. Hegseth order on first Caribbean boat strike, officials say. Kill them all. And underneath it says, as two men clung to the stricken, burning ship targeted by SEAL Team 6, the Joint Special Operations Commander followed the Defense Secretary's order to leave no survivors. A little interesting there. Hold on, wait. So we did a double tap. People survive. This was the first boat strike, if you remember, was the one that had 11 people on board. And everybody that knows anything about this says 11 people means no drugs. Like if you're carrying drugs, you want to keep weight down. I've said this a bunch, but there's no way the one that might have been human trafficking or a variety of other things. But hold on, there were two survivors and we double tapped them? Did you see
Yeah.
this?
I'm looking. Was there two boats? I see a picture with two boats.
Oh, that picture actually, that's all the different boat strikes they've released.
Oh, these are all the boat strikes. Okay.
Yeah, not
These
probably
look-
not even all of them, but that's several of them.
Okay. Yeah, and they're all small boats. And they're saying it's not even coming this way. It's going to
Going to
Europe now.
Trinidad and Tobago. Like apparently, and we've talked about this, but no fentanyl comes from Venezuela. Apparently, a lot of the drug route from there is that it goes from Venezuela to Trinidad and Tobago, however you say it, and then from there it goes over to Europe. Like America gets its drugs from Colombia and Mexico. Drugs from Venezuela oftentimes end up in Europe. Like they're not come. I'm sure there are some that come to America. It's not at all even a high percentage. Like most
It
of our
goes to
drugs.
Europe and then it comes back through.
Yeah,
through
probably
customs.
so. Anyhow, then I got to read. Somebody had gifted everybody on Twitter a free look at the article because normally you got to pay for stuff on the Washington Post. So I just clipped a little section here, but a missile screamed off the Trinidad coast, striking two vessels and igniting a blaze from bow to stern. For minutes, commanders watched the boat burning on a live drone feed. As the smoke cleared, they got a jolt. Two survivors were clinging to the smoldering wreck. The Special Operations Commander overseeing the September 2nd attack, the opening salvo in the Trump administration's war on suspected drug traffickers in the Western Hemisphere, ordered a second strike to comply with Hegseth's instructions. Two people familiar with the matter said the two men were blown apart in the water. I don't have any other thing to say other than that's a war crime. Like that's about the
Well, just
worst.
blowing these boats up is a war crime.
And what somebody compared it to was if you shoot down an airplane and the pilot ejects, and as he's coming down in his parachute, if you were to do strafing runs with the guns and try to hit him as he's coming, you don't do that. That's straight. It's against everything. And I don't mean to be bombastic there, but like the Geneva Convention, our own, like our Department of Defense has guidelines on how wars to be fought. Like you don't do that. Like once they're out of the fight, they're out of the fight.
Yeah. Well, this is not even a fight. This isn't even a fight.
No. And
We're
like I
not
said,
at war. We're not at war with Venezuelan fishermen.
yeah, and the guy, and I can't remember his name, but the guy that was the chief of legal counsel for the DOD under George W. Bush came out. He's now a professor somewhere, but he came out and said, if the facts in the Washington Post article are correct, then this is murder at the very least. It's high crimes and misdemeanors. It's people need to be impeached. Like, this is against everything, every way you fight a war. Like, this isn't how you do it. But Hegseth said, leave no survivors, and they took him. And I'm confused, just as an idiot here. Like SEAL Team 6, I normally think like they're the ones that went in and got Osama bin Laden. Like they're our best. Are they also like controlling drones? Like SEAL Team 6 is running the drone operation?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know how that works.
Probably. Well, I mean, I bet you they have a drone department.
I guess. I don't, okay, well, we got SEAL Team 6 taking out these boats in the Caribbean, apparently.
It's interesting.
There was a call between this guy is he's the commander overseeing operations from Fort Bragg. So apparently in Fort Bragg, which is in Kentucky or somewhere in the middle of the U.S. That's where they got a room with all kinds of video screens and all the drones are being controlled from there. This guy's name is Frank M. Mitch Bradley. This is what he apparently, according to two people, this is what he said to lawmakers that immediately called and were like, what are you doing? Like, you can't do this. And he said the survivors were still legitimate targets because they could theoretically call other traffickers to retrieve them and their cargo. So legitimate targets because they could have called someone to come pick them up. Well, you know what? Pilots that get shot down, people that are injured in war, like you don't take them out. All of them, you could say theoretically, they could have called someone to come get them. Yeah, that's why you don't kill them, so they could possibly get rescued and taken to a hospital. That's how we fight wars. I'm sorry. It's very irritating.
It's very irritating. It's all irritating. Not all, dude. That whole thing is irritating. I mean, first of all, it's illegal and immoral to just shoot boats. Even if they're drug traffickers. If they're drug traffickers, they're drug traffickers. You go and we've talked about this. You go and you pull your boat up to their boat and you arrest them by gunpoint or whatever, and you take them to court and they go through their court, and if they have drugs on the boat, then they go to jail.
That's called a coast. Normally, that would be a Coast Guard interdiction. They interdict with the boat. They
Sure.
get on and see. And as Rand Paul has said when we played the clip, 1 out of 4 that we do that with turn out to not have drugs on the boat. So if you assume that the rate is the same, 1 out of 4, I think we've taken out like 20 boats now. It's somewhere around there. But yeah, so that means 5 or so of them had nothing to do with the drug trade. If you take those same numbers.
Yeah, and now and Trump said something about, oh yeah, and it's going to be even easier when we go and get on the land.
Yeah, well, that looks like it's about to happen in the next couple of days, by the way. We'll talk about that in a second. Real quick, Pete Hegseth, I'm not going to read his whole response here. He did a thing where he like denied it in the opening sentence of his tweet, but then kind of confirmed it like later in his tweet, which is kind of odd to me. But he said, as usual, the fake news is delivering more fabricated, inflammatory, and derogatory reporting to discredit our incredible warriors fighting to protect the homeland. As we've said from the beginning and in every statement, these highly effective strikes are specifically intended to be lethal kinetic strikes. The declared intent is to stop lethal drugs, destroy narco boats, and kill the narco terrorists who are poisoning the American people. Every trafficker we kill is affiliated with a designated terrorist organization. So the first thing was like, this is all made up, but then he went on to say, yeah, no, that's exactly what we're trying to do is kill the narco terrorists. He later said the Biden administration preferred the kid gloves approach, allowing millions of people, including dangerous cartel members and unvetted Afghans, to flood our, like how he threw Afghans in, to flood our communities with drugs and violence. The Trump administration has sealed the border and gone on offense against narco terrorists. Biden coddled terrorists. We kill them. I'm not going to read the rest of that. But yeah, so these are, and also real quick, from his own personal Twitter account, like his not employee one, he also said that same day, we have just begun to kill narco terrorists, basically meaning this is just the beginning. So here's my thing. Somebody needs to get in trouble over this, and I don't know who it's going to be, but like, and you're going to disagree with everything I'm about to say, okay? But like, let's just go ahead and give them a lot of the stuff here. Okay, yeah, it was a drug boat. These were drug narco terrorists, and you had every right to hit them with a missile. I don't agree with any of it, but let's just say all that's true. Okay. Yeah. Once you've hit them with the missile and there's 2 survivors clinging to debris in the ocean, and you do a follow-up, like there's no way to make the argument that's legal. Like there are people that are trying to say, well, the strikes in the Caribbean are kind of in a gray area. Okay, I'm on one side of that where I think there's not. We don't kill people for selling drugs in America. We don't do that. But whatever. Like I said, give them all that. The double tap. You want to know how I know that they agree with me that the double tap's not legal?
Okay, how?
They did this on the very first strike, and I'm sure after it happened, every JAG lawyer in the Navy came back and said, "What? You can't do that. It's illegal as heck." Because I think it was 3 weeks later they hit a boat and there were 2 survivors, and what'd they do with those survivors?
Didn't they capture them and then release them back into Venezuela?
They didn't double tap them. You want to know why? I guarantee you, after the first one, the lawyers probably went nuts and said, "You can't do that. That's against every rule." And so, yay, I guess we learned from that first one. But also, the first one should have never happened. So, I want to see somebody's head on a platter here.
Did you watch South Park?
So I have not seen the Thanksgiving one. I did see the clip of Pete Hegseth.
So good.
I so badly want to pull different parts of South Park to play on here, but I know that we would get copyrighted on that.
I know. I just want to play that song because it's the Top Gun song, and it's no 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 no. It's Pete Hegseth is a fucking douche.
It's so good.
It's so good.
Oh, so nice. I will say I'm not holding any high hopes up for this. I'm not holding my breath on this. But U.S. Senator Roger Wicker is a Republican from Missouri and is the chairman of the Senate Armed Forces Committee. Him and Jack Reed, who's the Democrat that's the ranking member, they had this statement that says, the committee is aware of recent news reports and the Department of Defense's initial response regarding alleged follow-up strikes on suspected narcotics vessels in the Southcom area of responsibility. The committee has directed inquiries to the department, and we will be conducting vigorous oversight to determine the facts related to these circumstances. It's as good a win as you can get right now because the Republicans are not going to really investigate Trump and his people, but at least they said, "Hey, we saw this and we're not happy with the response," and they said they've opened inquiries, which means it's the beginning of an investigation. I'll bet it's going to turn into more of a cover up. Eventually, they'll have Pete Hegseth sitting in front of this committee, and the Democrats will be going after him, and the Republicans will be trying to protect him. I'm sure that's where this is heading. But for now, at least they're acting like they're going to do oversight on this. So it's all we can hope for. The World Court, are they going to do? They're not going to do it. Even if they try to do something, we're not going to listen to them. There's no recourse. That's the weirdest part about this is like, hey, that was blatantly illegal what we did there. Oh, okay. Who's going to do something about it? The DOJ or the White House or the DOD? No, none of them are going to do shit.
The only hope that something actually happens from that is that we win the midterms.
Okay.
And there starts to be trials on all of this stuff. Because this isn't the only thing. I mean, I couldn't even list you another thing. But I'm sure there's a lot of illegal things. I'm sure some of the immigration stuff, there's some illegality to it.
Okay.
This obviously is a complete war crime and illegal. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Pete Hegseth goes to prison over this.
I don't know. I will say a lot of people are saying that this is going to be the first thing Trump gets impeached over, which I got to say, unless there's a chance you're actually going to remove him, like the Senate, you have 2/3 of the Senate that are willing to do it. Like, I don't see the point in wasting time with impeachments. Like, it's fun to say, oh, Trump's been impeached 4 times, but nothing's going to happen. But do the investigations, expose all of this, shine a light on it. Put out reports, like spend all of your time in the next 2 years doing all that and showing all the corruption, but don't waste your time impeaching on one single issue. It's just.
But I think that's one of the things that brings it all to light is like, oh, Trump's being impeached again. People tune in to what's going on, and all the information comes out while people are tuning in. So maybe the impeachment is actually the thing. It's kind of the spotlight on the investigation.
The thing is, it ends up being a total waste of time because unless you think there's a for real chance he's going to get removed, and right now, like all the way back in the first term, I was like, if you actually remove Trump right now, it'd be bad for the Democrats because Mike Pence will get shit done without all the drama. He'll just.
You said Mike Pence.
No, that's what I'm saying. The first term. Mike Pence.
In the first term.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's the same way this time. Like, if something happened and you successfully remove Trump and JD slides in, I think JD is going to be way more effective. Like, if you're a Democrat and you don't like the Republicans doing what they want to do, like Trump being there, he kind of always steps on his own toes. Like, he can't help himself. So let him ride the 4 years out.
You're right, but like I said, I think the impeachment, as opposed to being a waste of time, I think if they just do an investigation and then release the information, like, it's going to be a little bit of a news story, but it's going to disappear. But if it's a long drawn out impeachment, then it keeps it. It's like kind of like the Epstein files, where it just kind of keeps going forward.
I feel like the hearings, when they have the hearings and they have somebody come, like those normally they make good clips. Like the late night show hosts are playing them and they get around on social media. So I would almost say the hearings are better than the impeachment. Like, just do the hearings. Yeah, bring them all in. Make them sit there and answer questions. Have them sit there and not answer the questions.
That's the thing about the hearings is they don't answer questions because they're not under oath.
Well, they look stupid as hell when they do it. So.
Oh wait, are they under oath during the hearings?
Yeah, they're under oath, but. Like, if you lie to Congress or refuse to answer to Congress, then they can refer you to the DOJ for lying. And then there's only been like 2 people ever that have been charged with that, and they were both within the last 4 or 5 years. And it was Roger Stone and Peter Navarro, one of Trump's economic guys. And they both just refused to come talk to Congress. And that's the only time that Congress has actually said, like, okay, we're gonna put a criminal referral out, and somebody actually went to jail for it. I don't think that had ever happened until then. So, speaking of Venezuela, real quick, because I have a feeling we're going to be talking about them next episode. Trump tweeted this morning. To all airlines, pilots, drug dealers, and human traffickers, please consider the airspace above and surrounding Venezuela to be closed in its entirety. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. It could be Trump bluffing. But also, like, when you close the airspace of a country, that means you're about to start bombing shit. Like, whether it be Tomahawk missiles or B-2s or whatever, But
Is he allowed to close down the airspace of another country?
no, not by tweet at all. There are times like when we were about to attack like Iraq or something like that, where we would like our Department of Defense would notify all the airlines to
Hmm.
don't go in this airspace. So like,
Yeah,
and it's so we don't actually accidentally shoot down an airliner or whatever.
right.
But the president doing by tweet is kind of that's a it's a new wrinkle in the Trump administration. But that, and like I said, it could be a bluff. He could be, and the thing is, it would make sense for him to be bluffing, but again, Maduro has already offered him everything he wants. Maduro's like, dude, I will stop being friends with China and Russia. I will give you all of our oil. Like, whatever you want, I will do. And the Trump administration is just like, no, there's nothing you can offer. Like, we're doing regime change. So sweet.
Okay.
So
Well, if Maduro just isn't willing to step down,
yeah, I I
is
think
that the only thing that could actually make this
well,
stop?
Maduro, even one of his last offers was he said that he would step down after a period of 2 to 3 years. He said he wanted to oversee all that. He wanted to try to prove to them that like, look, I can be a good soldier. Like I'll do whatever you want. And he was hoping that in that period he could convince them he could stay. This is what I read into it. But they said no to that. So
Hmm.
anyhow, just get ready. I'm not saying for sure, but it seems more and more likely that sometime this weekend we might start hitting the interior of Venezuela with bombs. It seems like. So
That's just so
and,
so shitty.
and at the same time, I didn't pull anything on this. I want to talk more about this next time. But the Honduras is about to have a presidential election. We did a coup on the Venezuela or on the Honduras leader back in like 2021. We helped lead a coup against him. He got thrown out. The new Republican or the right leaning president came in and basically started opening up the like state sponsored drug traffic to America. Everything Trump is saying that Venezuela is doing, Honduras was legit doing. We got their president, and he's in jail for like 45 years. They're having a new election. Trump is saying that everybody should vote for the right-leaning candidate, which is the party that was sending. And this guy, he got found guilty. There were all kinds of quotes where he was saying he wants to shove drugs right up the nostrils of the greedy Americans and all kinds of crap like this. But so Trump said he's going to pardon that guy. That guy's a hero of the right in Honduras.
Oh my
Trump's
God.
pardoning him and telling everyone, if you don't vote for the right-wing party in this election, then we're not giving you any more money. Like he said, we're not throwing good money after bad or something along those lines. So he's pardoning a guy who led a country who legit did everything that he said Venezuela's doing. We're pardoning that guy and going into war pretty much with Venezuela for a made up charge that they're trying to kill us all with drugs. Isn't that just like the craziest shit ever?
It is. It very much is. But I mean, what do you expect from Trump? He's the craziest dude
It makes
ever.
no sense. And everybody, when he announced he's pardoning this guy, everybody that knows about him was like, hold on, wait, like nobody is saying he should be pardoned. Like who is telling President Trump? It turns out it was Roger Stone. Roger Stone pretty much outed himself right afterward and was saying that, yeah. So anyhow, and there's a whole deal about that guy. That guy has some kind of a company that was pumping money into Trump and like other Republican politicians. So the guy that's in jail he's got money and he was pumping that money to Trump. So it's a straight up corruption type deal. Anyhow, he's pardoned now. So
Oh my
good
gosh.
deal.
So Roger Stone's still giving presidential advice?
Apparently, that's what everybody says because nobody could figure out who was possibly trying to convince Trump this was a good idea. And then after he did it, Roger Stone was all over Twitter and whatnot celebrating like it was unjust that he was in prison in the first place and blah blah blah. And immediately everybody's like, oh, it was Roger Stone. Like that makes total sense. So anyhow,
We've got so many issues, Andy.
we do. What's funny? Trump loves to try to change the subject from bad topics for him, and the Venezuela stuff. That all started to come out on Thursday, apparently. On Thursday, Department of Defense and the White House were notified that, hey, this is standard journalism. They said, hey, here's the story we're about to run. Do you have any comments? And that's the right way to do journalism, to give them a chance to say something on the record.
Sure.
So those calls went out on Thursday so they could run the story on Friday. Friday morning, Trump wakes up. This long tweet before the Washington Post could put out their story said, any document signed by Sleepy Joe Biden with the auto pen, which was approximately 92% of them, is hereby terminated. and of no further force or effort. The auto pen is not allowed to be used if approval is not specifically given by the President of the United States. The radical left lunatic circling Biden around the beautiful Resolute desk in the Oval Office took away the presidency from him. I am hereby canceling all executive orders and anything else that was not directly signed by crooked Joe Biden because of the people who operated the auto pen did so illegally. Here's the key part. Joe Biden was not involved in the auto pen process, and if he says he was, he will be brought up on charges of perjury. Thank you for your attention to this matter. That's so sneaky right there. He is saying that Biden was not aware of what was being signed with the auto pen. That's why none of these matter. But if Biden tries to come out and say that he did know about it, I'm going to charge him with perjury. So shut your mouth, Biden. Like, that's pretty much what he's saying in that tweet.
And they're saying he said if he wasn't approved to use the auto pen, who's going to approve him? Isn't the president have ultimate power under Trump's thinking?
Here's the Republican attack on this, okay? Biden was so out of it. He didn't know what was going on. So the people around him were getting legislation, executive orders, whatever it was, and not even showing it to Biden because he didn't matter because he was old and senile, and they were just taking it straight to the auto pen and having the auto pen sign it. Biden didn't even know half of the things, probably more than half of the things that were being signed by the auto pen. That's the Republican argument on it. So okay. Trump is saying because of that, none of them count because if the president didn't know about it, then it's not the legal way to do it. But then at the end, he says, Joe Biden was not involved in the auto pen process, and if he says he was, he will be brought up on charges of perjury. So,
I mean, that's crazy. What is he looking for? What is he trying to get rid of? I mean, he's doing all of them, right?
So the pardons, because his base is unhappy right now. Okay, they're unhappy about a lot of different things. In fact, this is a perfect time for it. Check this out.
Wow,
this is the Fox poll, so you're gonna think it's a little bit more friendly to Trump, right?
So border security, he's up a little bit.
He has shut down the border. Immigration is not happening, and nobody's coming across right now. So
yeah, but immigration. Oh yeah, okay. No, immigration. He has a more disapproval than approval.
That's crazy. So borders, simply people coming across the border. People feel like the border is secure.
So he's underwater on overall job performance, immigration, foreign policy, the economy by 61%, tariffs 63%, healthcare 64%. He is so underwater. So you're right. I mean, talking about his base, he's got that 34 to 38% just still in line with the economy, tariffs, and healthcare.
So when your base is upset with you and like they're mad about the economy and stuff like that, the thing is, there's not like an inflation toggle. Like, I'm going to bring inflation down now. Let me flip the switch. Like, it's hard to do. I was listening to Catherine Rampell, who's a great economist. She's now a part of the Bulwark. But she was saying the biggest problem in our recent elections is all of our candidates overpromise. Like the whole, I'm going to bring down prices on day one. No, nobody could possibly do that. The only way prices come down is in a severe recession. Like if our economy is retracting, the prices are coming down, but that's bad on every other level. So the promise should have been, I'm going to stabilize prices and work to bring up wages to match that. That's something that you can legitimately say you're going to try to do, and it would take years to actually put it into focus. But instead, the candidates say, I'm going to bring down prices on day one. You can't do that.
Well, no, I don't remember any other candidate saying that besides Trump.
Yeah, Trump did. But even Biden in his run, and I can't remember the examples, but she was saying in that podcast, there were several things where he was campaign promises. And it's like, you can't do that. Like the president has no real effect on this or that, whatever it is. So
you could bring down prices if you put a limitation on how much a CEO makes.
So that'd be price controls. And Kamala during the last election was saying that and I can't remember how she worded it, but the right instantly started screaming, price controls, that's Soviet, you can't do that. And it's like, well, if we can't do price controls, then there's no real way to bring down prices. So if we leave it up to free market capitalism, companies can charge whatever they think you're willing to pay for it. Even if you're mad about it, but you still pay for it, they're happy. So
yeah, and that's the thing is every company is going to keep increasing prices until it gets to a point where they're not making as much profit. And then they'll bring down the prices if it becomes a point, because as prices go up, people are going to buy less and less of it, but they're making more off each product. Now, at a certain point, it flips and they start not making as much money. So they keep raising the prices until they're not making as much money on those higher prices, and then they start lowering the prices
Yep.
until, and they have to find that balancing line. And at this point, we're all just getting screwed.
And so I'm not at all good at talking about the stock market. So I'm talking about shit I shouldn't be talking about here. But the company I worked for 18 years is a really good company, treated their employees well, was not a publicly traded company. You had to be an employee to own stock in the company.
Hmm.
And once a year, the owner would come down and talk to everybody in each division. And he would always say that we could go public. And if we went public, he would make a lot of money, and all the employees that have been there a long time would make a lot of money. But once we did that, we would be held accountable by, a board of the investors. And at that point, your duty is to the investors to try to maximize profitability. So it's
Totally.
impossible to treat your employees well and make sure they're getting the pay raises they need to live comfortable lives, while at the same time being responsible to the investors to maximize profitability. Like, you can't do both at once. And he would always say that's the reason we're not going to go public. And back then, I didn't really fully appreciate that. But now, with a little bit more understanding of how the market works, like, yeah, it's awesome. Like, I like that company even more. I don't work there anymore, but way to go for them. But
Yeah.
that's the problem, is like, as long as we are living in this free market capitalist economy, like, it is the CEO's duty to maximize profitability. It's not his duty to make sure his employees are taken care of. Like, just
Sure.
if you're a CEO and you don't do that, you will be removed by the board. Like,
Yeah.
that's how our economy works.
100%.
That's a broken system. Like, I don't know what the fix is. I can just tell you that that's not good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the stock market is an overall shit show, no matter what. No matter what the way you look at it.
It makes no
It's profit for the rich and kind of destroys the poor.
Well, it makes no sense, because normally the stock market, theoretically, people say, like, oh, well, the president can't really affect the stock market. You hear that all the time. But I think the president can. I would make the argument, because, like, the stock market is really a reflection of consumer confidence. Like, if
Yeah.
people feel good about the economy, then the stock market goes up. If people feel bad about the economy, the stock market goes down. The president has a very direct role in how people feel about the economy, is my
Yeah,
overall
and I
argument.
mean all the stuff about AI, like Trump is very
Mhm.
pro AI, and those companies are continue to build profit. But we
Yes.
talked about this last time, how it's really they're just buying and selling back and forth from each other
It's
just to
it's a
make it
shell.
look like AI is a big thing. Yeah.
It's a shell game that we're all going to get hosed. It's going to collapse. But
Yeah.
back to
Pull
my
your
thing.
money out of the stock out of AI.
But what makes no sense right now is, like, according to all the polling, consumer confidence is at record lows. Like, consumer confidence is
Yeah.
terrible, but the stock market's still going up every day, and like, it doesn't make sense at all. It's like,
The
what?
vast majority of people don't have money in the stock market
Yeah, it's just the
or enough to toggle it. It's all the rich people have their money. Like Elon Musk, he's worth how many trillion dollars?
yeah.
300 something trillion dollars. How much of that is in the stock market?
I
More
think a
than
lot
half,
of it.
probably. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of it.
Yeah. So
Anyhow,
that's why the stock, and he's not pulling out because as soon as he pulls out, he actually has to pay taxes. And
yeah,
what are
because then it's
taxes on 300 and something trillion dollars worth of gains?
then it's a realized gain as soon as he tries to cash out. But he can use the stock as collateral to do all kinds of other stuff without it being a realized gain. It's a
I,
crappy setup.
I might have brought this up a long time ago, but I've kind of came to a conclusion a while back that the stock market's not really, unless the bubble happens, like the stock market's kind of gonna float for
You
a
think so?
while. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't really see a huge crash in the stock market because, like I said, all these rich people have all their money invested in that and it's not realized gain, so they're not getting taxed on it. So why would they ever pull out
Well,
unless they just needed money?
there was an interesting wrinkle in the AI bubble this week. And I'm not the right guy to be talking about this, but Google is not one of the Magnificent Seven, I think is what they call them, like the seven AI companies that are propping up our stock company or our
Hmm.
stock market. Google's not one of the big players in that. Google has their own AI play. It's called Gemini. It's actually, I have that on my phone. It's what I use, but apparently it's not one of the more popular ones.
Hmm.
They had some kind of revelation in the last week that I can't really remember what it was, but like, they're using their own chips, so they don't rely on the chips coming from other countries. And when you look at like AI training, they have Google, they have YouTube TV, YouTube, like, they have the most stuff to possibly train for. And apparently, a lot of people this week realize, like, oh shit, like, we've been looking at ChatGPT and OpenAI and all these other ones, but like, it's probably going to be Google that emerges the winner in this. And when they do, the other seven are going to fall apart and crumble. Their stocks are
Well,
going to.
Yeah, think about who's in charge of those other ones. They're always out there yapping their mouths.
Mhm.
Elon Musk and Sam
Sam
Altman.
Altman.
But
Yeah.
yeah, he's always out there yapping his mouth. And so people go, oh, yeah, I'm going to invest in that company.
Yeah.
But Google's just kind of been quietly under the radar. But yeah, it makes
That's what
sense that they have more to pull from.
I saw a lot of things this week that were like, if you're investing in AI and you're not putting it all in Google, like you're probably making a mistake. Like Google's they're the giant monopoly corporation. They're gonna probably win this, but okay,
Yeah.
cool, whatever. Before we get to Stephen Miller's wife, which I know is gonna upset you, I did see one thing online that I just thought was funny. I don't like to make fun of a person, and I don't know who this person is, and they might be very sweet, but I need you to read a name for me real quick.
Oh, no.
How do you say that name?
I wanna.
How do you say her whole name?
No. I wish the N and the Y were switched.
No, I think it's perfect the way it is. How do you say
Security
that?
officer, I want to be horny.
No. No, it's I want to be Horan.
Horan.
I want to be Horan. That's a real person that works for our government, by the way. She's the acting chief security officer for DHS.
She looks like a sex traffic victim.
Yeah, I want to be Horan. All right, I'm not trying to make fun of her or her appearance, but I want to be Horan. It's almost like her parents didn't like her from birth.
I want to be Horan. I want to be, and all you gotta do is switch the N and the Y. And it's
It'd be horny, but
way better.
she doesn't want to be horny. She wants to be Horan. She wants to be
Horan.
She wants to be hoeing around, man. All right, sorry. I just wanted a little bit of laughter before we get into the greatness of Stephen Miller's wife. Like we said, Stephen Miller's wife. So let's backtrack on her real quick. She was a spokeswoman for the immigration department in Trump's first term. Like she was the one talking to the media. And then she met and fell in love with and married Stephen Miller. They have a couple kids together.
How the fuck do you fall in love with Stephen Miller? Jesus Christ.
Dude, she has said some stuff on like Fox. Like she was on Fox with Jesse Waters, and she was like, "Oh, he knows how to get me revved up," or something sexual like that. Where I almost threw up instantly. I was just like, I don't want to picture that at all. Anyhow, early on during the Trump administration this time, she left the Trump administration to go be with Elon. I don't know if you remember this, but she went to work with Elon, and everybody was like, whoa, like, is Elon sleeping with Stephen Miller's wife, or is she going to have his baby, or like, what's going on? And then that was when Elon said, that Trump's on the Epstein list, and all that fallout happened. And it nobody knew what happened to her. She just it's like, is she still with Elon, or what's going on? And then a month or two ago, she started her own podcast. So she kind of came out of nowhere. She's got her podcast, and she's been on CNN a lot recently. She was arguing on CNN last night. This clip is from Fox News because I'm going to kind of make this a twofer. But check out just the first part of this clip real quick.
Exchange on CNN, and I want you to listen to this. You have Katie Miller, Stephen Miller's wife, arguing and making a fact that your arrest, the vast majority of illegal immigrants rounded up, have criminal history. On CNN, they insist that's not true. From the cozy Manhattan studio, listen to this.
We are removing every single illegal alien that's in this country. And I would say a majority of those who've been removed have had serious violent crimes.
That's not true.
Today in the New Yorker.
That's not true. I hope you want to quote person saying that.
That is actually
that's false.
Today in the New Yorker. Demonstrably false.
Today in the New Yorker. Based on DHS's own data, a majority of the people that they've detained have not had violent criminal records
that have been removed.
Chief Pavito.
So, I don't know if you caught it there, but Kayleigh McEnany at the beginning said, oh, they're claiming they had no criminal record. What Stephen Miller's wife said there is that they had a violent criminal record. Did you catch that? And then this is semantics here, but first of all, please don't have Stephen Miller's wife on there anymore. She was arguing with them. Like there's so many clips today of her arguing with Abby Phillip, the host of that show. And it was the two conservatives on it were her and Scott Jennings. So, it was brutal to watch. I'm just going to say.
How many people have been removed so far through immigration?
Let me see, because I do have some stats here. Hold on. It doesn't show total people. It just shows the percentage of who had convictions and who doesn't.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's a lot, right? We've removed a lot of people. I don't even know where we're sending them now. Are they? I'm confused.
So apparently we're sending a lot of them to Oh, it's a country in Africa, and I can't remember what it. But then that country is then because these are people that are not allowed to be sent back to their home country because of asylum fears and all that. So we're
Mm-hmm.
sending them to like Rwanda or someplace like that, and then Rwanda is then sending them back to their home countries. So we're just it's a
Just
loophole around the
violating
system.
our, yeah. And
On.
I mean, let's say it's 100,000 people. So you're saying there was 100,000.
So hold on, real quick, let's get it right. Estimates suggest around 340,000 deportations by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement in the fiscal year 2025. So that would have been part of Biden, but most Trump.
Okay.
Now,
So
DHS claims 527 deportations, but the real estimate is
527?
527,000.
Okay.
And the actual estimates are more like 340,000. So
Okay.
yeah, sorry.
So, and they're all violent criminals now.
So Stephen Miller's wife said that the vast majority of them are violent criminals. And when
Okay.
she specifically said violent criminals, and everybody said, no, that's not true. And she was like, it is. Here, while we're looking real quick, let me show you the stats on it real quick. So 73% of them have no previous convictions.
Oh, that's not the vast majority.
6% of them have some kind of traffic violation, 5% immigration, 5% violence. So roughly 5% have violent criminal. That's not a vast majority. 4% is other. I don't know what vice would be.
What is vice?
I don't know.
But I would imagine, I thought that maybe it would be more immigration.
Well, a lot of them just never got caught. So
Yeah.
And this is an argument that Bavino is about to try to make. And this is, okay, if we want to be parse down the words here, he says, well, anybody in this country here illegally committed a crime. Okay, if that's what we're saying, then okay, I'll let you have that. But
It's actually not called a crime, though. It's a civil.
It's a civil infraction. I get it. But what she just said was violent criminal acts or whatever. So anyhow, let's hear Bavino real quick talk.
Chief Pavino, they're sitting in the comfort of a Manhattan studio, real nice in there. You're on the streets conducting these operations. Is it true that these guys don't have criminal records? You're rounding up innocent people?
Very untrue. Any illegal alien has broken the law, but let's take a look at those criminal records that those individuals were talking about, as you say, in that nice, comfortable studio. Those criminal records also include immigration violations as well. Reentry after deportation is a felony. Oftentimes, it doesn't seem that they want to talk about the reentry after deportation. That's definitely a felony. That's something I count and should be counted as a criminal record. So we go after some very bad people and bad things. And oftentimes, Kylie, what we're finding is when we apprehend other people in conjunction with that targeted enforcement, many of those individuals have significant immigration and or criminal histories. Sometimes between 60 and 70% of those general immigration sweeps will see illegal aliens with significant immigration and or criminal histories. It's quite amazing.
It's amazing, but the commentary class, they know better from that comfortable studio. Chief Patrol Agent Greg Bavino, thank you.
So first of all, his voice isn't what you were expecting, was it?
No, 100%. 100%.
I had never heard him talk, apparently, and when I saw that clip, that was my first thing. Is like, what? Okay, hold on. Let me reset real quick. But he just said that, oh no, a lot of them, came here legally. That's a crime, and then some of them got deported and then came back after deportation. That's a felony. Okay, cool. That's a felony. Again, Stephen Miller's wife said violent crimes. Okay, he didn't even try to make that argument. Now, he did say, so he said felony. So a lot of them that are coming that we're dealing with, these are some really bad people. Really bad people. Civil crime crossing the border, or maybe a felony for crossing after deportation. I get it. It's not a violent crime. Trump said he was going to go after the worst of the worst. The bad hombres is what he said.
Yeah.
That's who we're targeting. Okay. Again, 5% of the people that have been deported so far have a violent criminal record. 73% have absolutely no criminal record, but they all committed the civil crime of coming across the border illegally, I guess is what you'd say. Which, and let me throw some cold water on that. If they came across the border, and what happens with almost all of them is they come across the border and they try to find the first border agent they can find. They seek one out and they go find them and they say, I'm claiming asylum. And at that point they're on paper. Again, that system could be updated and fixed, and it needs to be. but they're following the laws. They're now on there. It's called on paper. They're going through the system. A lot of them are showing up at their immigration hearings and getting drug out of there by Border Patrol waiting for them in the hallway. It's like they're trying to do it the right way. If you think the right way is broken and stupid and needs to be updated, I agree with you. Like, let's fix it. Let's do an immigration bill.
Well, how would we do that? How would you fix that? I mean, if you're claiming asylum and you're running from your country, like you like leave your country and you go into Mexico. Let's just say you get to Mexico and then you get on a phone call and you call America and like you have to actually like get into the country or actually like get to the United States do we set up a station? Like this is your asylum seeking station on the border of Mexico and America?
What Biden did when the floodgates were open, as people would say, when a lot of them came in, was he started an app called the CPB-1 app. And like you could schedule like, hey, I'm coming across the border, I'm claiming asylum. Like they tried to make it orderly so they could track these people coming across. The main problem with it though is that neither side, and I'm gonna say neither side, but I think this is more Republicans than the left. But what we need is a whole shitload more immigration judges. We need them down on the border. And when someone comes across the border, this could be something we could knock out in a day or two. Like, okay, hey, we're going to keep you right here in a cage or whatever. We're going to keep you in this camp, concentration camp, whatever you got. But we're gonna process you real quick. We're gonna figure out, do you have a valid claim of asylum or do you not? If you don't, I'm sorry, you're getting turned around and going right back into Mexico or wherever you came from. If you have a valid claim, then okay, we're gonna run you through the system. Now it's gonna take a couple of years for you to actually become a citizen. But right now, we don't have enough immigration judges to do what we need to do. So as soon as they come in, all you can do is take down their information and tell them, okay, you're going to get a call from a court in a couple months to start your first court date. Like it's a broken system. It needs to be fixed. I agree with that.
Sure. Yeah.
But Stephen Miller's wife makes me want to use bad language. I don't like her. Like I said, I watched that whole segment with her and Greg Jennings, and man, it was rough.
So she's like just like Stephen Miller.
Yeah, and what's funny is she's cute. She's not my type. She's dark skin, dark hair. I don't like that. But she's a cute girl. And at first, I would see her and I'd be like, how did she end up with Stephen Miller? Like she had, like she could have done so much better. Stephen Miller's a terrible person. But then you hear her talk and you're like, oh, I totally see how her and Stephen Miller are simpatico, man. They deserve each other.
Huh.
Yep. That's what we got. So I got a bunch of little short ones for you. Do you got anything you want to talk about, or you want me to run you through some quick ones, then we're going to get out of here?
I think that was everything that I'd seen this week.
Okay. Real quick. You know how we talk all the time about, like, none of the Epstein accusers have really accused Trump, right? Like, there was that Katie Johnson girl that filed lawsuit when she was 13 and then dropped the charges. But other than that, like, we don't really have anybody pointing the finger at Trump. I found a clip online, and this is from the BBC, but I'm like, well, hold on. Like, if this girl is saying what she's saying, why isn't she on every channel in America? And maybe she has a lot of problems, but check out this clip from the BBC real quick.
You met Donald Trump, is it right, through Ghislaine Maxwell?
I did, yes, and I met him on several occasions. Ghislaine Maxwell did introduce me to him, and she introduced me to him with a clear message of my being with him in the same way that she had trafficked me and brought me to Jeffrey Epstein.
So she's saying that Ghislaine attempted to traffic her to Trump, is what I'm taking out of that.
Uh-huh.
I'd like to hear more from her. Where is she, and why is she not on our news channels? Why is she on the BBC saying
How old is that?
I don't know. I just saw it, and it's one of those where it's like, is this AI or?
Oh, this is recorded on 10/31/2025.
So that's 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago.
Uh-huh. How old was she when this happened?
Don't know. Like I said, I want to know more. I want to know more. Like, and is it a crime if Ghislaine tried to traffic? Maybe Trump was not interested. Maybe Ghislaine brought her thinking Trump would do something with her, and Trump did never try. Maybe. All I'm saying is I want to know more from her. Hold on. What exactly happened? How old were you? She tried to traffic you, but nothing ever happened. Okay, why did nothing happen? Did nothing happen because Trump said, "Oh, she's underage. I'm not doing anything with her"? Maybe that's the case. Yeah.
So
I want to know.
So this came out 3 or 4 weeks ago, and nobody else has had her on.
I've never seen her until today. Like what? again, maybe her story will make Trump look better. Totally. If that's the case, I don't care. I want to hear exactly what happened. If it makes Trump look better, then cool. Like it's irritating that that's out there, and our news media is not talking to her.
Oh, did you see that the files have been expedited by a judge?
Which files?
The Epstein files.
Okay, I think we're gonna get so many pages that are just 100% redacted, and we're not gonna be able to see anything about it. Is my theory.
So I think it was the judge that prosecuted for January 6th.
Tanya
just said
Chutkin.
Epstein files expedited. Let's see. Yeah, and so judge orders expedited process of a request for records. So apparently, I think it's supposed to come out soon enough. This is ABC.
It was supposed to come out within 30 days, and I feel like it's already been a week or 10 days, maybe.
So December 19th is the deadline. The Epstein File Transparency Act ruling could set on why, da da da. Yeah.
Well, let's see. Like I said, I think we got about 2 or 3 weeks left until they have to come out, and then I'm very curious to see what they're going to put out when they have to.
I'm so curious. This is going to be interesting because they spent like millions of dollars or billions of dollars redacting it.
It had a code name called like Operation Redaction or something like that, and it was like $1 million in overtime they paid FBI agents to go through and pull Trump's name out of everywhere that was in there. So
it still wasn't good enough to release.
Well, no, because all the stuff we've been getting that has Trump's name is coming straight from the Epstein estate. So anything we see from here going forward is going to be redacted as heck. Is anything coming from the government? So
yeah,
I'm very interested.
But this is supposed to be the unredacted versions, right?
And they said the only redactions would be to protect the victims or for national security stuff. That's the only stuff they can redact. So they're going to redact
security stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm sure. There's a lot of things that are going to be national security that are to protect our allies or whatever.
However, I mean, if it's national security, the House and the Senate have full rights to see anything in that. I'm surprised they can't just get those.
The government, the DOJ is not going to give it to them. So
yeah.
Anyhow, moving on from that, like I said, just that I'm curious who that lady is, and I want to hear her story. I want to hear all of it. So somebody interview her.
She needs to write a book.
Yeah. The other fun thing that happened was I saw a tweet from Jack Posobiec, he was like the original Pizzagate guy. He's on like Real America Voice or whatever, or the Steve Bannon channel now. He's also one of the reporters that signed the pledge to get to go into the Pentagon, so he's one of the few voices in the Pentagon. And he had a tweet the other day that said, "Yes, thank you, President Trump, for bringing back retarded, or giving us back retarded," or something like that. And I was like, hold on, wait, what? So Trump used retarded in a tweet? Like, is that what's going on here? And I read the whole tweet. Somewhere in the middle of it, he says, "The seriously retarded governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, does nothing, blah, 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 blah." So he called the governor of Minnesota seriously retarded. I saw that, and like, I grew up in a house where I have autistic cousins on both sides of my family, and like my mom from a young age didn't like me using that word. So like it's never been a word that I've used. I have issues with other words that I shouldn't use that I did because of a childhood in Texas, but retarded's one that I've generally not had a problem with. I saw that. There's so many things to get outraged about that I kind of was like, that's dumb. I'm not going to spend a lot of time thinking about that. Then though, the whole redistricting push that's happening everywhere. Trump is putting a full court press on Indiana right now to do redistricting. They've already said no twice, and both times Trump tries to call them to the Oval Office and put pressure on them. Well, one of the main people he would need for this to go through is a guy named Michael Bohasic. He came out and said right after that, "Many of you have asked my position on redistricting. I have been an unapologetic advocate for people with intellectual disabilities since the birth of my second daughter. Those of you that don't know me or my family might not know that my daughter has Down syndrome. This is not the first time our president has used these insulting and derogatory references, and his choice of words have consequences. I will be voting no on redistricting. Perhaps he can use the next 10 months to convince voters that his policies and behavior deserve a congressional majority. So, Trump, by throwing out the R word, cost himself a couple seats in Indiana because this guy was so upset about him using that. And that's awesome. That somebody on the right needs to stand up and speak up when he does this crap. That guy's had it. That guy doesn't like the use of the R word. He's a hardcore conservative. There's nothing liberal about that guy at all, but he's upset and disgusted by what the president's saying. So
good
on
Michael
him.
Bayakog.
Yeah. So I only got one thing left, and it's Elon, free speech wise. Remember in the lead up to the election that if you were to listen to Elon or Rogan or a lot of people, the reason to vote for Trump is because free speech. Like the left is attacking free speech, and Trump is going to save free speech.
And that was so ridiculous because Trump was attacking free speech. Free speech was fine if it was against the left, but if it was for the right, he was like the right every time somebody says something about the right, they go berserk and they attack free speech on their own. It's kind of a weird thing that they do. It's just
I think that both sides are equally stupid on this because both sides are like, no, free speech, unless you're saying something about me. And if you're saying something about me, now we need to take a look and see what's allowed to be said or not. But both sides have been guilty of this. Elon famously said that if you have a free speech society, you have to be willing to have people say things to you that are utterly disgusting or terrible, blah, blah, blah. But like that's what free speech is all about. Well, Elon Musk retweeted the it's not the B, which is the Babylon Bee. They had said the left labeled Charlie Kirk a fascist and he got shot. The left labeled the National Guard deployments fascist, ... Elon, his comment is falsely labeling nonviolent people as fascist or Nazi should be treated as incitement to murder.
Whoa.
Hold on. What happened to free speech, buddy?
Whoa.
Like
Elon.
if you call somebody a fascist or a Nazi, that should be treated as an incitement to murder? That's not free speech at all. What happened? What caused the 180 there? That makes no sense.
What's his profile pic?
Oh, I don't
the
know.
Something is. I can't read it. I'm just
I can't tell what that says. No clue.
Well,
but if you go,
the woke. I don't know.
The woke mind virus.
I think it says the woke is atrocious. I don't know. Yeah. Whatever.
No clue. But if you go back to this Trump administration only, like remember when we were grabbing people off the street for writing op-eds about Palestine? Throwing them to unmarked vans and disappearing them.
And that's not even free speech against America. That's free speech against Israel.
Yep. Well, we were throwing people into vans and sending them to prison camps for that. Trump also signed the 1 year punishment if you're caught burning a flag, which the Supreme Court has upheld as being the epitome of free speech. But nope, Trump doesn't like that. And now you got Elon saying that if you call somebody a fascist or a Nazi, that's incitement to murder. Like, it's weird how quickly they abandon the whole free speech thing. And then also the people, I'm going to say like Joe Rogan, that were backing them up on all this, like, where are you on this? Like,
speak up.
Very irritating. I like to think that certain people are not hypocrites, but at this point, I'm starting to think that's the only answer is that they're hypocrites. Like,
well, I think if you're going to stick with right-leaning policies and right-leaning ideologue, you have to be a hypocrite.
I think so.
It is really it's built into their system. What's
weird, just of the podcast bros, real quick, okay? And I'm thinking Rogan, Andrew Schultz, Tim Dillon, Theo Vaughn. Okay, that's kind of the four that I'm using for this little thought exercise. Like the ones that I thought would have been principled, Rogan would have been one of the ones that I don't know. I would have thought that he would have stuck to his guns. Like if he thinks there should be free speech, it doesn't matter if it's left or right. He hasn't said shit. Theo Vaughn is the one that first came out, and he had a problem with what's going on in Palestine, and he wasn't afraid to say it. And props to Theo. Like I'm not trying to be rude here, but I didn't think he had the intellect for that kind of deep thought. But he props to him for that.
I think he plays a role. I think he plays a part. I think he's smarter than he lets on to believe.
Could be an act that he's playing.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I think I think it's a little bit of an act that he's,
I think he's definitely smarter than, if you only hear clips of Theo, you might come away with the impression that he's not very smart. I think he's very smart. He just says the way he delivers things in his dialogue, it doesn't sound as educated as he really
is. The stuff that he comes up with off the top of his head is like
hysterical,
creative, super creative, and super visual, and it's good. It's very smart. Yeah,
but you had him. He was the first to kind of speak up and say he's not cool with certain things that Israel's doing, but by proxy, he's kind of saying that America's backing Israel doing. Totally. He took heat from the administration for that. He said openly on podcasts that he got calls from people in the Trump White House asking him to stop, and he didn't. Andrew Schultz has kind of been back and forth. He had a problem because Trump had promised to make IVF available through insurance and all kinds of stuff. And then at one point, he said he had no plans to do that. Andrew Schultz kind of got vocal about that. And then the administration came out and said, oh, no, we're going to do that. And then Andrew Schultz kind of quieted back down. So I put him on the kind of, he's on the line. He could go either way. But you know who the most principled person in all this has been? Tim Dillon. Tim Dillon, he's been calling out the attack on free speech, what Israel's doing. He's calling it all out. And just, if you were to go back a year ago, I guess, I wouldn't have saw it that way. I would have thought it would have been Rogan leading the charge, but Rogan has been the most silent throughout all this. So
yeah, Tim Dillon's been good on everything. He's every time he does these little bits in his podcast, and I should start watching the podcast again, but he does these little bits and they're all funny, but honest.
Very honest. And he's almost like South Park. I always tell people, if you're watching South Park and in the first 5 minutes you're like, oh sweet, they're on my side, ooh buddy, you've got a rude awakening coming in the next 10 to 15 minutes, because it kind of tricks you, and they're showing the stupidity of the thing they're arguing for. Totally. Tim Dillon does that too, where he'll start a rant and I'm like, oh, what's he doing? And then within a couple minutes I'm like, oh, I see, he's pointing out how dumb this line of thought is, or whatever it is. So very smart of him. So good on Tim Dillon. Good on Tim Dillon and Theo Vaughn. I never would have thought. Schultz and Rogan, I'm still waiting.
And that's the thing that disappointed me with Rogan, was he kind of. I used to listen to his podcast, almost all of them.
You were the reason I started, and this was 2015 maybe, but you were the reason that I started listening to Joe Rogan.
I was driving back and forth to Dallas a bunch, and I would just put on those podcasts and knocking them out. And I mean, he was honest, and he was honest with himself and honest about what he was saying. And if there was something that he wasn't sure about, they would look it up. And now he's just kind of on this he's got blinders on. He doesn't want to see what's going on outside of his purview.
Well, there's been so many times in the past year or two since he moved to Texas. When he moved to Texas, a lot of things changed, and I don't know if it's who he's hanging out with or whatever, but there's been so many times where he's there's one really famous clip where he's like, did you see that Biden said that there were airports during the Revolutionary War? He's so, but then he tells Jamie to pull up, and it turns out Biden was making fun of Trump for saying that. Trump had said there were airports, and as soon as he realized that it was actually Trump that said it, he's like, oh, well, never mind. And then he just moves on, and it's like, no.
Before that, he was talking about that, and he was talking about Biden saying it, and he was saying that person does not deserve, somebody who thinks that there's airports then should not be a person that needs to be president. And then it turns out it was Trump that actually said it, and he just kind of brushes it off.
I swear, I don't watch every episode of Rogan anymore, but that happens every other episode. There's a time like that where he's saying, with the Epstein stuff recently, he was trying to say that it was the Democrats that were trying to stop the Epstein stuff from coming out, and Jamie corrected him, and he was reading it on the screen. He's like, hold on, wait, so it's the Republicans that are not wanting to come out? Okay, well, and then he starts trying to there might be good reasons that, and it's no. And so I don't know. I was clinging to hope that I don't want Joe to be on the left. I don't want him to be on the right. I want him to call balls and strikes. That's what I think that it'd be great if most of our media and personalities on podcasts and all that just call balls and strikes. If the left does plenty of dumb shit that deserves ridicule. Cool.
And that's why I liked Rogan in the beginning, because he was calling ball and strikes. He was true to himself, and he was using critical thinking skills and kind of calling balls and strikes. And now he's just completely on one side.
You know why not many people do that anymore?
Why?
There's no audience for it whatsoever. Like,
but that's what we do.
That's why we don't have an audience. Like, and that's this. Like, hear me on this real quick. Like, everybody in America is tribalism. Like, most people are on the left or they're on the right, and they don't want to hear what the other side has to say. Like, that's just the sad reality of where we are. And the people that are in the middle, which I think there's a big portion of America that's in the middle, but they're not on Twitter and they're not listening to podcasts. They're going about their daily lives, not paying attention to the news. God bless them. I wish I could do that too. I have to, for some reason, I have to watch this stuff. But like, if me and you, like, if we hit a point where it's like, hey, for whatever reason, like, we need to start getting, enough people to where we can monetize or, whatever it might be, like, the smart thing for us to do would be to lean far left or far right and start making real hyperbolic, like, Trump has his worst week ever, blah, blah, blah. Like, that we could get more viewers doing that. I'm not willing to do that. Like, I think that's stupid, but like, those are the people that get the most viewers. And I laugh so hard. We've talked about this before, but like Midas Touch, I don't have a problem with Midas Touch, the podcast network or whatever it is, but like their titles of their episodes are hysterical to me. It's like, Trump suffers humiliating defeat in the White House. And I'll be like, oh shit, like, what happened? I must have missed it. And then I'll watch it and it's not at all a humiliating defeat. Like,
I've seen this several times where it's like, Trump days away from dying. You're like,
but those things get clicks, like they really do. So the problem is, it like I was listening to somebody talk about this recently, and God, I wish I could remember. It was somebody in the podcast space, but they said that there was a time, and they had some facts to back this up. So I'm going to say I believe what this guy was saying, but there was a time when Rogan in the past half a year started trying to slide back to the middle. He was talking about hey, like, picking up people at Home Depot, this isn't what we wanted. If you like this, you don't have a heart, and this and that. And the people, and he showed screenshots of it, but like, his fans in his comments were going fucking ballistic. Like, this is not what they want to hear. And then he had on a couple, like, he had Bill Maher on, like a couple of lefty type people, and those episodes got way less views, like half the views as is normal. So he started trying to look to slide back to being more in the middle, and his audience told him no, like, this isn't what we want. And he's a victim of what they call audience capture. Like, he's at a point now where he needs to keep feeding his audience what they want to hear to keep his audience. And old Joe,
that's just not, I don't want to listen to somebody who's not being genuine.
Well, that's the thing is, old Joe used to say all the time, like, I'm going to have on whoever I think is interesting and I want to talk to, I'm going to have on. I don't care what the numbers say. I don't care what like, I'm doing this for me, was basically his thing. And that's not current Joe anymore. Like, once you hit a certain point, you got to keep your numbers where they are. And I think that he learned. He wanted to try to slide back to more neutral, and the only people still listening to Joe are the people that want to hear right-wing stuff.
Yeah. Well, he used to have on great guests who haven't been on, and he used to have them on the regular, and they're not coming on anymore. He's not inviting them. I remember Dr. Rhonda Patrick was one of my favorites. I always liked Neil deGrasse Tyson on there.
The last time he had Neil deGrasse Tyson on, it was almost like confrontational, because Neil deGrasse Tyson was correcting him on stuff, and Joe was not liking it at all. And that's what, like, my favorite, was turning this whole ending into a Joe Rogan conversation, but like, back in the day, I used to watch when he'd have comedians on, was who I'd always watch at first. And then I learned one time, it's like, oh, like, if I'd read the little description and say, like, this person is a professor of human behaviors, blah, blah, blah. If it was something I knew nothing about, those were some of the best episodes, because it was like a 3-hour lesson where I would learn a bunch of cool shit. So I like, awesome. Now, and this, about 2 years ago, I hit a point where I was getting a little discouraged by Joe and all his right-wing stuff. So I'd be like, okay, I'm just going to listen when he has comedians on. Hopefully they won't talk about politics. But he'd have a comedian on, and all they would do is talk about the vaccine and politics. And it's like, could you just be funny and not talk about I just want to hear you talk about something, not politics. And that's all he wants to talk about now.
When was the last time Tom Segura was on there?
Tom was on like a year ago, I believe, when he had a new special coming out, and they didn't talk politics hardly at all, because 2 times ago when Tom was on, he called Trump a toddler, and Joe Rogan like laughed about it, and Trump's base went nuts on Rogan for making fun of Trump. So Segura's only been on once since then, and they didn't.
And they live in the same city.
Yeah,
Tom Segura used to be on like every 3 months.
Tom Segura does a real good job of not bringing up politics, but if you pay attention to the guests he has on, who he talks, like, Tom's more liberal than all the rest of them, but I think he's learned, like, I said this many times on the show, but Michael Jordan back in the 90s, they wanted him to get involved in politics. They wanted him to throw his weight behind Bill Clinton or somebody like that. And he said, no. He said, I'm not getting involved. And they were like, oh, it's your duty. You have to. And he said, no. Republicans buy sneakers too, and I'm not trying to upset half the market. And he was thinking dollars. He wants to sell as many sneakers as he can. He doesn't want to piss off half the country. Part of me respects that. Like, if you don't want to, if you're a famous person and you don't want to be political, cool, don't be political. Right. I think Tom Segura has taken the same mindset where he's like, I don't want to piss off half the country. I'm just gonna be right down the middle on as much as I can and just not talk about it.
Speaking of Tom, have you seen Bad Thoughts?
I saw the first season of it. I didn't see the second season.
I think there's only one season of it.
Well, they're shooting the second season now, or maybe they just got done shooting. They got renewed for a second season. I know that.
It was so good, so funny.
It was pretty out there. So.
Yep. The one where his dick gets so big he has to like drape it over his shoulder.
That one
dying laughing.
That one started funny, and towards the end, I was just like, I don't know how I feel about this. Like it was
so dark.
It was dark as heck.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, okay. Well, that's our podcast wrap up. You got anything else before we go?
Nope. I think that's good, man.
Okay. Well, have a good rest of your holiday weekend, and let's see if the next time we talk, we're at war with Venezuela, or at least bombing them. I think there's a 50% chance. So keep your ears out. Love you, buddy. Later.
Peace.
Sometimes you eat the bar, sometimes the bar eats you.